Hello, Blake Hart here today, talking about the 7 necessary skills I believe you need to be a wedding DJ or a mobile DJ. So, do you have what it takes to be a wedding DJ? That's sort of what we're going into today a little bit. There's lots of necessary skills, for sure, but I feel like these 7 are just really important ones. Some of them you can learn, some of them you can't learn. So I thought I should talk about it because a lot of people are probably wondering before you start a business, like, hey, I think I have an idea of what it may entail, but I don't know if it's right for me. And sometimes you don't figure that stuff out until you do it. So I don't want this video to stop anyone from fulfilling your dreams. Just want to talk about some of these things because I thought it could be helpful for people. So let's dive in, and we're going to go to number 1, being organized. This is true in most parts of your life, right? Being organized can really help you succeed in many areas. So it's no different when it comes to wedding DJing, right? I mean, you have to be organized with everything. So, of course, you've got your pre-planning where you're doing the timeline, where you're getting the names of the wedding parties so that you know what you need to announce, the pronunciations of those names, and the songs, special requests. There's a lot to get organized for that one-day special event. So there's a lot going on beforehand, but then even, let's say the night before, the gear that you're going to need, you're planning in terms of, what is the event space like? Are there special needs that you're going to have for yourself that maybe you're is not in your usual gear planning, or what you're bringing with you. Anything from having to mic maybe some live instruments or deal with that to, I don't know, who knows what could be happening. But point being is that you really do need to be organized with your gear and what you're bringing to an event. A lot of times that space may be an hour from your house, if not 2 hours from your house. I mean, you need to be organized and be ready to go and have everything you need on site if any surprises come up, which we'll talk about a little bit too in a few. But I think being organized can really help you in so many places in your life. So it's no different here in being a wedding DJ. You need to be organized. That leads us nicely into number 2, which is detail oriented. All right, so it's sort of along the same lines, but getting a little more in depth to really digging into those details. Again, timelines, right? I mean, down to the minute in some instances. What songs are you going to need to play for the first dance, for the last dance? I mean, you've got to make sure that you have these songs ready to go. There are so many different details the day of that need to be executed, and you need to be able to execute them as the DJ for this wedding couple or this event or whatever is going on. And the parties around you are going to expect that of you. You can't be flaky and be like, I don't know, right? Not know what's going on, not knowing what time you have to be here, be there, or do what. I mean, you need to be on point. And so detail oriented, again, no surprise here, right? This helps in a lot of other arenas in our lives. But when you are running a business, specifically a wedding business, people's biggest day of their lives, I mean, I might argue otherwise, right? Having gotten married, but those who are getting married, they are believing it is the absolute biggest day of their life. So you need to, there's the devil's in the details, right? I mean, you need to have it all down. You need to know exactly what you're doing. And that brings up another thing. If you're going into a particular situation, let's say an event that's at a space you're not familiar with and you don't have really good visuals on what it looks like or maybe what your load-in's going to be like, or you have any sort of questions or worries, all right? Go see the site, go visit the site, take the time to do that. I've found throughout my career DJing is that owners of particular establishments, they are pretty welcome to you coming and seeing the site, being that the wedding couple have decided to have their wedding at that particular location and have outlaid some money. Sometimes it's more difficult than others, but for the most part, I never had an issue seeing a site when I felt that I needed to see it. But yeah, like dig into these details. Like don't just accept things for what they are. If you have a bit of a question mark hanging over your head, make sure you ask the question to find the answers that you need to have the details all gathered and ready and known so that you can, again, execute. Number 3, confidence. So before I dive into talking a bit more about confidence, let's say what confidence is not. Confidence is not that pushy, cheesy, annoying DJ who does not get off of the microphone. Okay, that is not confidence. That's just plain annoying, okay? Confidence is important as a DJ of events because you are driving that room. Maybe you don't want to put that much pressure on yourself and think of it that way, but if you really take a step back, there is an event happening. You're playing music for that event, but part of that is also like reading the room and knowing the timeline and knowing where to go next, right? So not only with your music, but maybe with your announcements. And it takes a certain type of confidence to be able to do that, because nobody likes a blah DJ who's like talking into the mic and like, hello everybody, it's time for the speeches now, right? You need to own it. You need to own what you're doing. You're driving this event. You need to be personable. You need to put yourself out there. And I'll tell you what, if you don't like having that kind of pressure on you, right? If you don't like maybe, that whole thing, like you don't know what's going to happen next, but you're driving this and you're going and you're managing it, maybe this isn't for you, right? It does get easier each time. So I want to tell everybody that if you're thinking about this right now and you're thinking, yeah, I'm confident in things I know how to do, but when I do something new or that's I'm not that great at, I'm not as confident, right? Over time, with certain things, yes, you will gain that confidence, but it doesn't mean that you can't, you don't walk in there showing confidence. You have to be confident. Everybody has to believe when they see you, this DJ knows what they're doing. All right. That's a lot of pressure. It is a lot of pressure, but I tell you, you're watching this video. So that means this is important to you. And it is something that I don't want you to stress about because you'll gain that over time as you keep doing it. But in general, you do have to show your confidence. Everybody is counting on you. No pressure. Number 4, are you a problem solver? Man, problems come up everywhere. I hate to say that, right? Sometimes things go flawlessly, but just like life, stuff happens, stuff pops up, and you have to have that mentality where you are into problem solving. It can be a piece of gear, right? Maybe you have a piece of gear that's not working the way you've expected it to work. So really great thing there, being a problem solver, is you have backup. You have other cables, right? If a cable is not working, some kind of connection, you need to be prepared, right? So part of this being a problem solver is also being prepared to solve that problem. So with gear, make sure you have backups, make sure you know how your gear works, make sure you know how to set it up, all those things. But there's other problems, right? There's like dealing with something that's maybe not going right in the timeline, or something disastrous that happened that you weren't in control of with the wedding couple, or who knows what. You need to be able to pivot, because that's part of it too, right? As a problem solver, you can't just be a ram just butting your head. You need to be able to step back, assess the situation, use your brain power, and potentially pivot to get to a better path, right? So all you guys out there, I'm sure we all have had our share of problem solving. I get it. But you need to also have this mentality on the wedding day and think beforehand, because I know a lot of DJs, successful DJs, they've got their emergency bags. They've got their emergency plan, right? No power. What do you do? Power went out. What do you do? I mean, there are DJs that have generators that they bring with them to gigs, right? To be able to help in that situation. So all these types of things, just think about it. There's a lot. I know, I don't want to stress you out, but being a good problem solver, definitely important. Number 5, this is a big one, being friendly. Being friendly is important, right? You're dealing with lots of different personalities and sometimes difficult personalities. You're dealing with not only the wedding couple that's hired you, you're also dealing with maybe some of the guests, right? Maybe they've gotten a little drunk or belligerent, or they have requests of you that you're like, okay, or you're dealing with the staff there, whether it's the head of the staff that's running the wait staff, or whoever they have at the different event place, right? There's lots of personalities. Believe me, there's usually somebody running the show. Maybe you're working with a wedding coordinator, but there are other people you're going to be working with, and it's really important to be friendly, because I believe out of all things that go wrong, one of the things that really starts that things going down the wrong path is when you're not friendly, okay? Friendly, kind, understanding. It doesn't mean that you have to kiss ass, right? That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about imagining yourself in a workplace with other employees and bosses and people, and how do you need to interact with those people to have the most successful experience, right? We're talking about that kind of friendly. So just keep that in the back of your head. Nobody likes, a DJ that is just not somebody to be liked. You want to be friendly and nice, and that will get you really far. Believe me, because people remember, right? If you go to one event space and then you end up there again, people remember how nice you are and how nice it was working with you. That is huge. Please remember that. If you leave the bad taste in somebody's mouth as a wedding DJ, it will stay there. That taste will stay there, and you will suffer because of it. So, okay, be friendly. Number 6, music. Music. All right, music is important. It's important that you know music, know lots of genres of music, and going beyond the crate hack stuff, right? I mean, crate hacking can only get you so far. You've got to understand the music, right? It's not just a list. You need to understand it, because you're going to need to understand how, what does your crowd want? You need to be able to read the floor. You need to be able to read what type of wedding this is. Like, who's here, right? What are they responding to? Where can you push the limits as a DJ to bring their experience to the next level? Like, all of these things are important, because knowing the music is what gets you to understanding these other things and how to use the music. So I understand when you first start out, there are different services that, set up the list for you. And, it's a great starting point to learn, but really dig in. Do more than just take the list to the wedding and be like, yep, here's the top disco songs. You know what? Because you're Spotify then, right? Who wants to be Spotify? You're a DJ. You did this. You got into this. You're getting into this because you love music and you want to share that passion with people. You're not getting in this to be like a wedding Spotify. So I really, really can't emphasize this enough. Learn more about all different genres of music. Keep listening to music. Listen, and research, learn yourself, so that you can become an even better DJ than you are right now. There's so much to know about music. There's so much music. There is so much music. It's, at times it's overwhelming. I get it, right? And now you're talking being a wedding DJ. You're not talking about current right now. You're talking about going back to, I don't know, let's say 1950, potentially. I know it sounds crazy, right? That was over 70 years ago. So you're like, okay, how many 90-year-olds do you have at your wedding? But it's not that. It's the, people who are in their 60s. Like, they remember listening to certain music with their parents. Yeah, you want to make the wedding couple's parents happy. You have to understand, and all genres of music, all times, it's just important. And I know there's probably DJs out there that are like, oh, well, I just do, salsa or Latin, or I just do this or that. So I understand. So there may be some exceptions because you have a specialty niche area that you don't stray from. I get it. But you still have to know that music well. So whatever. You need to know music. Number 7, business. You can't get away from it, right? It's a necessary skill. And you may not have that skill right now because you're learning about what it means to start a business, build a business, all of those things. But let me tell you, you will learn, and it'll be a skill that you have, because at the end of the day, as an event DJ, you are in business. Okay, maybe you're working for somebody else that's a multi-op. I'm not talking about that. I'm for this right here. If it is your thing, your side hustle, you're doing the DJ stuff, you need to have the skill of business. That goes into your contracts. It's going to go into just, understanding how to be legit, paying your taxes, your federal income taxes, your sales taxes. Do you have employees? Maybe you start a multi-op, right? So you've got payroll taxes that you've got to handle. Maybe you hire contractors and you have to hand out 1099s. Just invoicing, books, like, using QuickBooks or similar, and understanding your profit and loss and just really where your business stands. I don't want to stress you out. I'm going to talk through some of these things in future videos, but you do have to have a general understanding of business and know that, yes, there are things you can pay people for. Let's say you don't like using QuickBooks because it's like not your thing. You can pay a bookkeeper. You can get an accountant. There are people who will do these things for you. You don't have to do it all, but you need to have a basic understanding of some of the business stuff because you can't get away from it, right? You just can't get away from it. All right, so that's it. Those are my 7 necessary skills to have if you want to be a wedding DJ or an event DJ. Yes, there's more than 7 skills, but these are the ones when I was like, I'm going to make this video. What are the top 7? I believe these are the top 7. Notice that one of the skills in there is not being able to not having to know how to mix music, right? That's a given. It's a skill you'll acquire if you don't have it yet. But I think all of these other things are really what propel you initially as a wedding DJ or event DJ to be successful. So I hope this was helpful for you. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, if it's your first time at the channel. It was really nice meeting you today. For those of you who've come back to watch this, come back for more. I'm excited about this wedding DJ series, and I've got more videos coming. So I'll see you again soon.